This is absolutely ridiculous. As rumors speculate, as people continue to talk, it's starting to look like the Cleveland Cavaliers may be making minor changes, if any, heading into next season after losing in only 5 games after a historical regular season from the Cavs. People really thought that this playoff choke would result in some big changes, some major changes, and yes, with limitations of the second apron and some salary cap, it's starting to look like the Cavaliers are just going to run it back based on what some analysts are saying. Before we continue talking about what is going to happen with the Cavs this offseason, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You get rumors, updates, trades, injuries, lineup changes, literally everything minor and everything major from all things Cavs. We cover literally everything, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button. But let's kind of talk about what Bleacher Report Jake Fischer had to say about this Cavaliers offseason. So if you guys don't know, Jake Fischer is a Bleacher Report NBA insider, and he kind of had some thoughts, and he's apparently said he's talked to some people about what's going to happen with the Cavs. This is what he had to say. He said, the Cavs, I think, from my understanding from talking to people in and around that organization, I think they are going to largely stand pat this summer. So this is kind of a weird, reaction from me and probably from a lot of fans, as they really were really asking for more, because when you kind of just hit the same, hump that you've had the last 2 years, just can't get it done in the playoffs, it seems like no one really takes the Cavs serious in the playoffs. A lot of people were talking about how if this team reaches Boston, they're not going to win. Or, going into the Pacers series, it seems like the Cavs are heavy favorites. And so a lot of people want these changes to happen. A lot of people, including myself, want the Cavs to make changes. But right now it's seeming very unlikely based on what Fischer had to say, especially from certain guys like these are 2 guys that you need to re-sign. So that's one thing we'll talk about later in this video. But Jarrett Allen's one of the guys that, a lot of conversation has been speculated around. I've definitely covered him a lot as of late. He's one of those guys that people have just kind of questioned his full capabilities in the playoffs and just his lack of effort. It doesn't seem like he's trying. It doesn't seem like that. So it really seems like Jarrett Allen's just going to be in the same position as he was last year based on what these insiders are saying. It really seems like the Cavs are going to keep guys like Jarrett Allen and guys like Darius Garland, who, me and Billy have both talked about just our most recent videos. Darius Garland's been a lot of conversation. Him and Jarrett have been a lot of conversation about the Cavs making changes. So I'm going to cover 2 things in this video, kind of split into 2 halves. Why it makes sense for them to stand pat and why I dislike it. There's 2 things. So I'm going to start off by talking about why it makes sense that they stand pat. So obviously this was the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference going into the playoffs. They were the number 1 seed, 60-plus games, heavy favorites. Well, I think they were second favorites to win the East behind Boston, but Boston's not in here anyways. The Knicks just beat them last night. But so it really, you see, you were in a rebuild. Once LeBron left, before they got Donovan Mitchell, they had Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, they were trying to work on a rebuild. So they were fully unable to really get to that top spot. So it really seemed like over time they were able to get to that top spot. And once they finally got to the 1 seed, it seemed like they were finally out of that rebuild area. So that was the biggest thing. So that's why it makes sense that they're kind of staying together, because you finally got out of that rebuild area. It really seemed like you were a competitor. But my personal opinion, I do not like when teams try to just do the bare minimum. I think that trying to make the playoffs and trying to be the best regular season team you could possibly be is not worth it, because the main goal should always be to win a championship. You look at the NFL, there's so many teams I can give you an example of. If you're not an NFL fan, you won't really get this, but the Steelers, the Cowboys, those are 2 teams that are big examples of just doing the bare minimum, trying to beat expectations and make the playoffs, and then lower the expectations and disappoint their fans into the playoffs. And that's what the Cavs did this year. And that's why guys like Darius Garland and guys like Jarrett Allen are big topics of conversation of getting rid of right now. So that is why I personally dislike it, because I think, yes, they got out of this rebuild. They got a new coach, but you can't just keep blaming coaches. You can't just keep blaming specific players. You have to get to that top spot, which is making the NBA Finals. The bare minimum is making the Eastern Conference Finals right now, because that should have been you. It should have been them in Boston, and that's what everyone was talking about for months, and now it's neither of them, because there were expectations set when you surpassed expectations already in the regular season. 3 historical winning streaks of 10-plus games, and you cannot get it done in the playoffs. That's why just trying to run it back is so disappointing to me. But again, but another reason that it makes sense to run it back is because of the second apron. Me and Billy have both talked about this. Billy started off with a great video. Go check that one out. And then I had this exact screenshot covering it. So I'm just going to, instead of going over the second apron again, I'm kind of just going to let you read this. Just prevents you from being able to get players. You can access a mid-level exception, sign and trade deals, cash and trades, first round pick beyond a 6-year time frame. Must be equal or less than, so you can't, get trade for a guy and then sign him for like a 5-year supermax or whatever. Cannot trade multiple players in a single deal and cannot use prior trade exceptions. So you can still make trades, you could still make deals, but it's just very, very limited. So now a couple other guys that when he talks about standing pat that you're going to have to pay, these two players specifically, they were on a 1-year deal or their contract's over. You have these guys for what we just saw and no more. So the Cavs are going to have to re-sign this guy. Ty Jerome, I'm assuming, is going to ask for more. So are the Cavs going to pay Ty Jerome is a big thing in question here with their whole running the back scheme, which, again, I'm very disappointed they're running it back, or at least it's rumored to run it back. Maybe they can make a blockbuster deal for some guys. I mean, LeBron is an option. I'm definitely going to cover that soon here. But Ty Jerome and Sam Merrill are two guys that must be re-signed if they want to run it back. For me personally, I'm big on Ty Jerome. I know he had some bad playoff performances and he wasn't showing himself, but he was a 6th Man of the Year candidate. Could have honestly won it. Probably could have won it from some people. Probably should have from some people's opinion. But this is a guy that in Game 5, when the Cavs got eliminated in Cleveland, this guy didn't get played in the third quarter. He was getting his little punishment from Kenny Atkinson and the Cavs team. He came in, hit 2 threes, was telling the crowd to get lit. I love Ty Jerome's energy. I think he's a great player, and I really, really think he proved himself in Game 5 as a guy that could be a spark plug off the bench. I think when they gave him the starting minutes, I think he proved himself. He got nervous as a starter, but I think if you can play him a quality 15 to 25 minutes, I think he's great, and I really, really think he could bring that to you. So I think we could re-sign him. Sam Merrill, on the other hand, he didn't play in Game 5. He was injured, but we could really use his shooting, and the fact that he's kind of a one-dimensional player like Kyle Korver, worse than Kyle Korver, but one-dimensional player that could just catch off-ball screens and go and just shoot the ball off never shoot off the dribble, just shoot off the catch. We could have really used that from him in this series, and the fact that he didn't give it to us when he was playing is just embarrassing. So I'm totally okay with not paying Sam Merrill, especially if it's for something more than $5 million, because I feel like that's disgusting. Another guy that doesn't have a contract anymore is Tristan Thompson. I'm sure he'll retire. There's no reason the Cavs should even entertain the idea of Tristan Thompson. But yeah, basically, the Cleveland Cavaliers are being rumored to run it back with the same team again, and fans, are definitely against it. Max Strus gave his opinion on what happened. We got to get tougher mentally, physically. So if you are going to run it back, that is one thing that we have to improve on. I feel like we all, as Cavs fans, do agree that the Cleveland Cavaliers must fix this lack of physicality in the playoffs. It's actually getting quite embarrassing to me. The fact that it's against the Knicks, against Boston, it's injuries, but you can't really blame. I hate making excuses. I think you just have to understand that, yes, it happened, but you have to get more physical. You have to get tougher up here as well. And that is what we have for you today. These Cavs rumors, there's so many things going on with them being eliminated. So many people just giving their opinion right now about the Cavs running it back, why they should, why they shouldn't. I believe it's really stupid to not make changes, but since they were the 1 seed, let's see if they could just get tougher with this team. If they do it again, then you absolutely have to blow it up. Not blow it up totally, but get rid of some players. And I think the core 4 will be here for at least another year for sure. But that's it for me. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm Matt Palange here at Cavs.Jets. Go ahead and subscribe button and comment what you guys think changes need to happen. And as always, thank you guys for joining me.